restoring men in history, freedom, choices, anti-freedom. They'll make the choice for you. There's a large faction, a lot of factions actually working against your freedom, against your choices. Over here on the freedom side, we have more fun. You can smoke cigars, eat meat, and drive V8 engine cars. Over here on the anti-freedom side, they're going to push you into a 15-minute city if they get their wishes, or worse. You're not going to be able to eat meat. They're going to have you eating bugs, and not going to be able to drive internal combustion engines and cool cars like Steve McQueen in Bullet, where he drives that cool 68 Mustang in San Francisco. If you go back, I love old movies. So I love watching cool cars. I like the noise and the sound of a V8. I have a V8. So I want that choice. You want that choice. We should have that choice, and it shouldn't be this global cabal faction telling us climate change, no electric cars for you, no choices for you, but we'll fly jets and we'll drive as many cars. In fact, we'll have a fleet of cars and fleet of jets, and we'll drive them because we want everything. We want it all. We want all power, all control, right? There's that faction at work. If you're enjoying this video, please smash that like button, because that helps push the algorithm around. So do you want to be able to buy what you want and make your choices for you and your family and your children? Do you want your children to be able to have more choices in the future or less? This faction wants them to have less choices. We want you to have more choices and more fun. And you ever notice these guys never don't smile much at all? So Klaus Schwab and those guys. He kind of looks like a bad comedic Bond villain, doesn't he? I think so. Caleb Miller in Car and Driver states, 6 major automakers. This is taking away your choices. This is why it's important. By the way, why is it important we follow this? Because if we don't stand for freedom, you won't have choices, as many choices. 6 major automakers agree to end gas car sales globally by 2040. That's other people making decisions for you, shutting it down. In other words, if they want to drive their little cars and their electric cars and not smoke cigars, not own guns, they can do that. That's their choice. We don't say you have to own a gun. We just like guns. We like cigars. They're the no fun party also. They want to have fun for themselves, I guess, in what ways they do. Well, Jack Marino would have a take on that. I'll let him speak to that. 6 major automakers agree to end gas car sales globally by 2040. At the United Nations Climate Change Conference, Control Change Conference, they're going to control you, and they ought to call it the Control Change Conference. And they've always been wrong about all their predictions. We should do a video on that. At the United States Climate Change Conference, Climate Control Conference, 6 automakers in 30 countries signed a pledge to end sales of gas and diesel. We love gas cars. What are they doing? Taking away our choices. And diesel-powered cars worldwide by 2040. See, they're going to make the decision for the United States. Forget our Constitution. They're going to make it for us. Strip the sovereignty of the United States citizen and the voter. That's what's occurring. Going beyond our government. But our government's kind of in it. The Uniparty, right? They're okay with it. The agreement also includes phasing out sales of those vehicles by 2035 in leading markets. Ford, General Motors, Mercedes-Benz, Volvo, Jaguar, Land Rover, and Chinese automaker. I think this was written in 2021. All signed, as did 24 fleet operators. So we'll see who's still with it. Maybe Mercedes pulled out. I'm not sure. I don't know which of these companies have pulled out. This was 2021 article. Now it's 2023. There's an article.
The science is clear. The 1.5-degree limit is only possible if we ultimately stop burning all fossil fuels. Not reduce, not abate, phase out with a clear time frame aligned with 1.5 degrees.
Now, what large companies are pushing that? What other companies are pushing it? Who's the Bond villain here? Who's the main Bond villain, or the comedic Bond villain? Companies and governments and organizations are trying to take away your choices on the anti-freedom side. We're the freedom side, and pushing this climate change, climate control, electric car thing. They want to make the choice for you. Then there's a faction that says, I know what's coming after that. What's coming after that? After they take away your gas car, they're going to say, you don't need to drive at all. We'll put you in a 15-minute city, 15-minute prison. And we'll tell you when you can go out and when you can meet your friends and all that. Almost never. So you can walk everywhere. It'll be fun. How can they do it? What tools are they going to use? Well, one tool they're going to use is ESG, right? ESG. And who's pushing that really hard? Who's pushing ESG? Who's the major Bond villain here? Seeking all power and control for themselves. They'll fly jets, but you can't drive a car. Through ESG, we will make the choices for you, and we will punish those who don't agree with us, who don't follow our narrative, who don't follow our policies. We will punish them. We will break them. And like I said, the uniparty seems all in. So you've got governments and these corporate entities working together to create this, what they want. Here's the story. Tennessee is taking on BlackRock. And at the head of BlackRock is kind of that, what seems like kind of Bond villain, right? So let's take a look at this quick lawsuit. You got to be aware of it so you can stand for freedom peacefully. How it affects your choices and freedoms. Why is it important? Well, freedom and posterity. Your choices to live a happy life, to have choices, for your children to have more choices than you do today. Protecting yourself and your children's choices for the future. Not just having the globalist climate control cabal make all your decisions and the elites, so-called. Tennessee sues BlackRock for deceiving consumers about its radical climate agenda by one of my favorites, Evita Duffy Alfonso. I like this girl. December 19th, 2023, in the first of its kind lawsuit, Tennessee sued BlackRock for harming Tennessee consumers via radical ESG commitments. Again, think about ESG as a way to control you and take away your choices, and it's on the anti-freedom side. They want it all. They want control. Just remember that. In a groundbreaking lawsuit filed Monday, the state of Tennessee sued BlackRock Inc., the world's largest asset management firm, for harming current and potential Tennessee consumers via the firm's so-called environmental, social, and governance, ESG, anti-freedom commitments. And we need to stand peacefully against ESG. It'll take away your choices and freedom and your children's choices and freedom. So that's the importance of this article. The suit specifically takes aim at decisions BlackRock has made to achieve, now this is the Attorney General, I think, to achieve various climate-related policy goals, which Tennessee Attorney General Jonathan Scimetti says violate consumer protection laws. Again, this is a state, not the federal government, and the states have what? Federalist 46. More power than the federal government when it was ratified the way it was supposed to be done. And I need to read the lawsuit so I can come back to you guys if it develops further. The suit details how BlackRock is joined with ESG climate coalitions. Let's call that control climate coalitions. They will control your life. You will have no decision. You will assimilate. Like the Net Zero Asset Managers Initiative and Climate Action 100 Plus, we should call that the Net Zero Control Your Life and make all decisions for what is best for us, them. We want more. You will own nothing and be happy.
Ain't got no cash, ain't got no car, but 24 booster shots in your arm. Oh, nothing. Be happy.
Right? You will own nothing and be happy. You will buy what we want you to buy. You will buy what we need to make money on. You will buy what will make us wealthier. So never forget that. When they say it, they mean it. You will own nothing and be happy, they mean it. The faction means it. Okay, going back to the piece. Thanks to its alliances with these ESG entities, the suit contends BlackRock makes key company decisions based not on what will obtain the highest profits, but on what will instead move the world closer to radical net zero goals. So did you hear that? Moving the world closer to them having all control. The anti-freedom side. Power, control over you and your choices. Less freedom, less choices for you and your family. Going on, the Tennessee Attorney General states, quote, BlackRock has articulated two inconsistent positions, one focusing solely on money and the other focusing on environmental impact. And remember what we call that. They use the environment to control your life. Make the decisions for you. So they can have it all and fly in their jets. And you can, well, not even drive a car or electric car at best. Even if you don't like it, even if you want to hear that engine or hear that noise. Scimetti said in a statement alleging that BlackRock is, quote, misleading investors and consumers. Quote, Tennessee consumers deserve to know which of BlackRock's statements are a true account of the company's decision-making, end of quote. Now, Evita goes on to say this. Tennessee lawsuit is key in the battle against the growing consolidation of wealth and power among a small group of left-wing elites with no consideration for consumers, for you, for your families. Assimilate or else, they say. You don't assimilate, we'll run your business out. ESG standards are powerful, rewarding or punishing companies, we just talked about that, based on how well they push leftist orthodoxy on things like skin color, sexist, and climate alarmists. Again, not a meritocracy, not the best product, the most woke products. Look at Hollywood, it's a disaster. Not much appealing to go see. I never really want to go to the movies because it's all woke propaganda, bad propaganda being pushed at me. If you've ever wondered, or she goes on to say, if you've ever wondered why Bud Light pulled its disastrous Dylan Mulvaney stunt, ESG is your answer 100%. That's why all these companies push that. Quote, these big asset managers have unbelievable amounts of leverage over the economy, Schimetti told the Federalist. We should do one on BlackRock in the housing market. You should see the percentages of housing that BlackRock owns in the housing market, driving your housing prices up. That's a whole video. But anyway, let's go on to her piece. Quote, here's the Attorney General again. BlackRock has almost $10 trillion in assets under measurement. Think about that, $10 trillion in assets. $10 trillion in assets. This is why BlackRock, and as well as other major investment firms and big banks, can act as ESG enforcers on businesses. See, they don't even need the government. They can do it for the government and themselves. See, the left just keeps adding arsenal, more arsenals for their control and power. Not who's the best, who's the most woke. Anti-freedom side is the most, who's the most woke, right? Not who's the best. Not profit, but who's following their agenda and assimilating and doing what they say. You will do what I say. Who's becoming a robot. As Federalist contributor Justin Haskins explained, quote, BlackRock has been one of the world's biggest supporters of ESG metrics. This is using the power as one of its world's largest shareholders to pressure companies to change society. See, BlackRock pressures these companies to take away your choices. In other words, that's the quote. BlackRock and other major financial entities are shaping culture, back to her, and enforcing policies outside the electoral consent of regular citizens. Schimetti described this as, quote, shadow regulations created by individuals who have no accountability to whom? To the people. We know how big cultural influence is. Look at Hollywood and the bad propaganda they put out. He goes on to say that is the exact opposite of what America is. What is America? Schimetti said we were a self-governing people. Remember, we fought for independence. John Adams stood for it. Patrick Henry stood for it. They stood bravely and courageously for freedom. That's the freedom side. Guys like Patrick Henry, John Adams, great man, exceptional man. Where accountability ultimately has to lie with what? The voters, he says. See the will of the left, the globalists for power, control, all the money, whatever it takes faction. We will use government, businesses, organizations, the United Nations. We'll use whom we want. Tennessee Attorney General warned if you remove power from the voters, it starts this cascading catastrophe that will ultimately hurt us in ways that we can't fully appreciate. Look, you're going to lose your freedom if you don't stand peacefully now. You'll lose more and more and more freedoms. Less choices for the steak you want. Instead, you'll be forced to eat bugs. Less choices on the cars you drive. Instead, you'll be forced to drive those electric cars. Terrifying. Don't want an electric car. And by the way, if you want an electric car on the freedom side, you can do it. And if you want to eat bugs on the freedom side, you can eat bugs.
I'm Nicole Kidman, and I am going to eat a 4-course meal of bugs.
What kind of car do you want? What kind of choices do you want in life? What kind of choices do you want your children to have? We will tell you what you drive, and then we'll tell you probably later that you don't even need a car. You can walk in your 15-minute prison, right? Consequences. According to BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, soon everything we do, everything, will be dictated by ESG scores. See how important this is to know, to follow? Everything. Not by profits, not by a meritocracy, by who follows the woke agenda. Indeed, as author Michael Rechtenwald put it, and this is what you want to watch for, ESGs act as a Chinese-style social credit score for rating corporations. Hey, you don't want the vaccine? You get a bad rating. You don't want to wear a mask? You get a bad rating. See how the freedom side, you can wear a mask on the freedom side if you want. We don't care. But over on this side, There's a faction that wants to make us wear a mask, make us get a vaccination. Who benefits, by the way? Who gains? Who makes all the money on the mask and the vaccine? I'm sorry, we're Americans. We don't want your Chinese social credit system. Patrick Henry and the founders fought for this kind of freedom, not tyranny. We opposed tyranny. Tyranny side, anti-freedom side. Woke planners willed the ESG index to reward the in-group and to squeeze non-woke players out of the market. You see that? Woke investment drives ownership and control of production away from the non-compliant. Comply or else. Assimilate or else. The ESG index serves as an admission ticket for entry into the woke cartels. Who wants to be with those guys? They seem like no fun. But the ESGs aren't simply an assault on people's social values and economic freedom. They also pose a threat to people's lives, true. BlackRock's war on fossil fuels, which is mentioned in the Tennessee lawsuit, could kill an untold number of people. Let's say that again, could kill an untold number of people. Serious, right? Serious that we stand peacefully against this today. Fossil fuels have provided humans with things like heating and air conditioning, saving generations from life-threatening climate disasters and extreme weather. Fossil fuels in part helped cut climate-related disaster deaths by how much, do you think? 99% compared to a century ago, 99%. Moreover, the higher standard of living provided by fossil fuels, they don't care about your standard of living. They want a high standard of living. They don't care how you live. Or, seems like if you live, right? It's why the industrialized world enjoys lower poverty rates, longer life expectations, and lower infant mortality rates than the non-industrial world. They can do what they want. They'll tell you what to do. Also, if you have no time and money and you're struggling, you won't be able to stand peacefully against it and oppose it. If you're having no fun, you'll be more depressed. Quote, if BlackRock, back to her piece, if BlackRock has its way, however, humanity will descend into a net zero nightmare. Imagine your worst nightmare. That's it. Imagine a totalitarian nightmare right now. Imagine it. Where regular citizens are deprived of basic things like reliable transportation, electricity, heating. Remember how they went after the gas stoves, that whole faction, Biden and all the rest of them? They want you to have a gas stove. They're going to control you. Cooling systems and mass food production. Remember California and Texas, when California was saying, don't charge your car now, they pushed everybody in electric. And they said, well, don't charge your electric car now in the heat wave. And then Texas had a winter problem. That's climate control. Not caring about you, caring about control, power, money. They just want to control you and make your life miserable, it seems. BlackRock already has responded to the lawsuit, but denying all wrongdoing. Oh, like we're shocked, like in Casablanca. Scametti told the Federalist that he expects BlackRock to put up a formidable fight. Oh, yeah, they will. Quote, BlackRock's an enormous corporation with very, very deep resources, Canetti said. I have no doubt the legal team they are assembling to defend this case will be extraordinary and aggressive and very challenging. Look, they're on a mission. They have a mission to defend this. They want to push this on you. They will defend it vigorously because they want to control you. At the end of the day, this is a simple case. Is the company able to articulate two separate policies that contradict each other, or can they not do that? And that's the beauty of consumer protection case. It's not a complicated law. It just says you got to be honest. Okay, freedom or social credit score coming up. Which one do you want? Pick a side. Freedom or social credit score? You get to eat meat or you don't. You get to pick a V8 and drive a cool little car that you like driving up the streets of San Francisco, anywhere you live. Not San Francisco now. That's out. That city's gone because of the woke policies, right? San Francisco's gone. Who wants to live there? It's gone. But in a great city with freedom, in a freedom city, you could drive a V8 or a truck with a V8, right? Car with a V8 or a truck with a V8. We fought for freedom. The founders fought for your freedom against this kind of tyranny. These forces seem to me to make you want to be miserable. It's almost like that's part of the game, right? You be miserable so they feel better about themselves. More freedom and power for them, less freedom and choices for you and your family. A world in which freedom doesn't exist. They can fly in jets everywhere, you can't drive a V8. They can eat steaks every night, you can't eat a steak. We can go in more in this. They can have large pieces of land, you need to live in a 15-minute prison. They want all the land they want it all for themselves, right? These so-called elites want it for all. More money, more power, more control, both for you and your children. Look at the school systems, Department of Education. We could go on forever today, but we're not. But it's all about control. So make sure you're paying it. Why is this important? Make sure you're paying attention, gaining knowledge, watching, standing peacefully against ESG. So you'll have the choice to drive that fantastic V8 Mustang if you want to buy one, or that V8 truck if you want to buy one, so that you have choices so they don't take away all your choices. So we can have some fun, hear the engine, drive down the street in a V8 all day. I like going out and driving all day sometimes, all through the farms, down these country roads in a V8. They want to take that fun away because they're the no fun side too. We're the freedom fun side. They're the no fun side. These guys want power. They're worse than a Bond villain, like a comedic Bond villain. Have you seen those shots of Klaus Schwab? He's like a comedic Bond villain, but he's serious. We'd appreciate it if you like this video. Hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Thank you. Thank you for watching.